Hello and welcome to FidelityNext, our webcast that helps take students to the next level in their careers. I'm your host, Emily Anenuevo. Investment management, technology, and client services. This is just a small sample of the several areas Fidelity Canada recruits students for during the year. And if you've ever wondered what it would be like to work in financial services, this episode is for you. Fidelity Campus Relations Specialist Aneesah Rashad is here to share insights on the student recruitment process, what types of roles Fidelity has available, and how to ace those tough interview questions. Aneesah, welcome to the studio. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's great to be back.
Yeah, I know. Great to have you here. Just kind of pick your brain about, like I said, the interview questions that you guys asked during the recruitment process, the interview process, and all the things. So before we dig deep into that, why don't you just tell the audience what you do as a campus relations specialist, that is, technically.
Yes.
A recruiter, basically.
Yeah.
What does that involve?
Yeah, I mean, in simple terms, it is recruitment. First and foremost, I hire all of the students that we recruit for every 4 months. So that's around 60 to 80 students every 4 months.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, the student program has really been growing throughout the years. So it's just getting larger and larger, but it's really a great thing. Apart from recruitment, of course, promoting Fidelity's brand on campus. So going to universities and colleges and interacting with other students, sharing our opportunities and letting them know that we have a lot of great opportunities for students that are looking to expand and grow their skill set. Apart from that, maintaining those relationships with those universities and colleges, because we're looking to build a really great pipeline of future talent, and eventually, hopefully, those students come back full-time too. So largely, I would say that's what my role encompasses. And of course, there is the strategy component and making sure that we're following the best practices for hiring and all of the admin work involved in that as well to make sure that all the students are onboarded in an efficient manner.
Amazing. So it obviously sounds like you interact and talk to a lot of students on the campus. What are you hearing from them, Aneesah? What are they telling you in terms of their career paths and their career concerns? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, students are very eager. First, they're looking for an opportunity, and a lot of them don't know that Fidelity has so many different roles available. So I feel like the most common question I get is, what student opportunities can I apply to at Fidelity? Then after that, a lot of people are looking to get advice on how to improve their resume, their application, their cover letter to really make them stand out in the application process. It is a very competitive market right now. So just any tips and suggestions on how to improve that. And I feel like the biggest concern that I'm hearing from a lot of these students is, how can I, someone who may not have as much professional experience, land a job or role in an area that I am studying? And it is really a big concern for a lot of the students, which is why I think any company like Fidelity that has such a great co-op or intern program, it really encourages those students to, apply, get some firsthand experience, even if it's not, experience in that dream job or role yet. Any experience is great experience. So I always encourage them to apply, and, that's a really great starting point for sure.
And what many students may not know about Fidelity is that you don't necessarily need to have that financial business background. There are so many departments, so many roles that are available. We'll dig deeper into that in a moment. But Aneesah, if you can take us through the recruitment process. I know there are 3 major windows in the year where you recruit students. I believe the fall one is closing today, but students still have a chance to apply when the winter window opens. So what is that process like? What happens throughout that time?
Yeah, so our student recruitment process is very cyclical, like you said. Every 4 months, we kind of repeat the same process. So right now, we're closing for fall 2025. But typically, all our student roles are posted for a 2-week window. And in that 2-week window, you can apply to our career site or your school job portal, whatever's more efficient for you. And then after those 2 weeks, our team goes ahead and reviews all the applications, shortlists our top candidates, and then schedule interviews. So then we'll reach out for interviews. And then if you're chosen to partake in that, we go ahead and there's only 1 round of interviews for students. So that's very short and efficient for them. And then after that, if you're chosen to move forward, we onboard you in the upcoming months. So like I said, this process repeats every 4 months. The only role that's kind of outside the typical timeline would be for our investment management roles, because those follow a different recruitment period. That's typically a year to almost 2 years in advance. So that's a little bit different, but normally it is that standard kind of 2-week application process and then the interviewing right after.
Okay, good to know. A very efficient process. And I didn't know it was a 2-week window.
Yes.
So like you said, browse Fidelity Canada's early careers page, or like you said, get in touch with your campus office at your college or
the
university.
schools would have the timeline of the dates, or you can look at the early career site and it would specify the exact dates that we start posting and close posting.
Okay, amazing. Now you also mentioned about that interview process.
Yes.
And I wanted to go through some rapid fire questions and you answer like the common questions you would ask during an interview and give our students some practical tips on how to approach that question, right? Let's start with the first one.
Yes.
A common one, obviously, tell me about yourself. Now you can go through a laundry list of things and maybe like recite your resume, but is that the right approach? Let us know, Aneesah.
No, it's not. I know this question is very vague, and that's sometimes why students get intimidated by this question. But really, if you think about this question in 3 main parts, it's such a simple question to answer. First and foremost, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're studying, what your skills are, what any relevant experience is, and that should be the first part of your answer. The second part, you can dig deeper into why you chose to apply for this specific role. Maybe state specific examples, any achievements that kind of correlate with that opportunity. And the third part, end it off on a positive note. Why did you choose Fidelity specifically? Was it the culture? Was it the training? Anything that stood out to you at the company specifically? And, just leave it on a note of why you're here today. So 3 parts, simple, easy. It doesn't have to be a long introduction. 5 minutes max, I would recommend.
Okay, good.
And that's a perfect way to ace that question.
Okay, perfect. That segues perfectly into the second question. Why do you want to work here? Why Fidelity?
Yeah.
How do you sort of expand on that and maybe give specific examples?
Yeah, so why Fidelity? Again, another question that we think as recruiters is quite simple, but it really does.
Do they stumble on it?
It throws people off guard. But honestly, this is a great way to highlight any research that you've done about the company. So whether it be, if you've looked at our career site, if you've networked with some people, had coffee chats, or even explored like our social media pages, this is a great time to highlight any of those findings. So why Fidelity? Is it the culture? Is it the training? Is it what you've heard from other students who may have worked in the roles or departments? Like what really stands out to you about the company? And then you can lead that into a perfect segue of why this role.
Like third question, why this role specifically?
Why this role specifically? So
how can they approach that one?
Yeah, so for why this role specifically, again, there are countless co-ops or internships out there. So what is it about this specific opportunity? Is it because you're studying that specific area? Are you just looking to grow your skill set? Have you heard about the training? Any experience is good experience for the student, right? So I think to answer that question, why the role, you really want to reiterate your skills, the experience that you have that will align with the opportunity, and most often what you're looking to gain out of the opportunity. So would that be you want to improve on specific skills, or have you heard about the training program that can really reinforce the development of those skills? And I mean, it's kind of a give and take relationship, right? We want these students to make the most out of the co-op experience. So you have to kind of choose the company as much as we choose the students as well.
Okay, understood. But what if your background and experience is not quite there yet? They're students, right? So they're gaining that experience.
Exactly.
What if it's not quite, to the exact role, but you're almost there? How do they kind of like highlight that they're still in the learning process, but still would be well suited for the role?
Yeah, and we completely understand. We don't expect students to come in with like 10 years of experience.
Yeah.
I think there are other ways that you can highlight your skills because a lot of our roles, they really rely on these transferable skills. So whether it be through maybe your extracurricular involvement or any, clubs that you're a part of, or even the things that you're learning in your courses or projects that you're doing, you can use those as, a supplement to professional or industry related experience. And just make sure that you're giving specific examples because that's what really resonates with us as recruiters because it highlights that you're learning, you're developing, and often you're just looking to grow, which is what we appreciate from students.
Okay, interview question number 4. Describe your strengths and weaknesses. How do you approach that one?
Yeah, so this is a great one to talk about what you believe are, top 3 strengths. I wouldn't go past 3. I think that's enough. And again, specific examples, like you can say, initiative, curiosity, whatever it may be, but a specific example from your past experience, from your schoolwork, anything that demonstrates that. Then for weaknesses, of course, we understand no one's perfect. So I think this is a good way to turn it into a strength as well. So let's say you're talking about communication. If you struggle with public speaking, what are you doing to improve upon that specific skill, right? Because that shows that you're self-aware, you're looking to kind of develop, and maybe this opportunity can help you further develop upon that weakness.
And definitely don't say, I don't have any weaknesses,
No.
right?
Don't do that.
Be honest, like you said.
Yes, be transparent.
And show how be transparent
Exactly.
and show how you're improving, because we always can improve
Of
in all
course.
facets of life,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, last question, interview question number 5. How would you resolve conflict in a situation where you're not given much guidance on how to solve the issue?
Yeah. So for this question, we're looking for your problem-solving skills and critical thinking.
Yeah.
You can just choose any example, whether it be in your past work experience, even schoolwork, a job, anything. As long as you're talking about your thought process behind the steps that you take to, when you're not really given instructions, what do you do? Are you doing research? Are you reaching out for help? Are you relying on your coworkers? As long as we understand your thought process behind that, I think that's the perfect way to just understand that question.
Okay, fantastic. Now let's get into the different roles available for students at Fidelity. A lot of finance and business students apply here.
Yes.
So what types of background and experiences should they bring to the role? And what types of roles, like advisor sales, what else in the finance and business background do we offer here?
Yeah, so I guess first and foremost, while a lot of the roles encourage a finance and business background, you don't necessarily have to have a finance or business background. Like I said earlier, a lot of the roles, the skills are very transferable. So even if you may not be studying finance particularly, even in the schoolwork that you're doing or the extracurriculars you're involved in, you could have some of those key skills to be a part of the certain roles.
Oh, okay.
So I would say first and foremost, really read the job description because it outlines, which program is preferred, but it's not required necessarily. For certain roles, it is a requirement. So just pay attention to that. And then in terms of what roles, another misconception is that we only hire finance students, which is not true at all.
No.
Like I said, we hire 60 to 80 students every term, and it's all across the board. So think about things such as sales or human resources, marketing, investment management. We really hire across pretty much every single division. In fact, one of our newest roles is working with the Investly team as well, which is a really exciting opportunity for students. So I would encourage everyone to just take a look at our careers website. It outlines all the different opportunities, and it's not just finance. There is really something for everyone.
Amazing. And Investly is our new investing app targeted to all types of investors, but also focused on young investors as well. Could you also expand on the type of technology roles that Fidelity has to offer? Like you said, there's lots of different departments that you can choose from. Technology is a great interest too for students.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few technology roles. The biggest department would be emerging technologies. And this is actually perfect for students who may not necessarily have like a software developing background or computer science background, because we do accept business students for this department, as long as you have even like a baseline level skill set, some familiarity with programming and some of the languages. But apart from emerging technologies, there is the digital applications team. We have IT architecture, automation, and most notably, the Investly software development role. And across all of these teams, they hire multiple students every term as well. So I would say altogether, there's about maybe 20 roles across IT, and it's becoming more and more popular, like you said. Again, just pay attention to the job description to see what skills we're looking for. But if you have a computer science background or even engineering or even those transferable skills that I was mentioning earlier, you could be considered for an opportunity in IT.
That's fantastic. And I'm just curious, once you meet the students and they apply for a certain role, is there ever situations where you think that they're better suited for another department? I guess you have to just start talking to that student and hear what their interests and passions are, because it may turn out differently from what they applied.
For sure. We've seen that a lot of times. Like even in the interview, they may be interviewing for a specific role, but after we've chatted with them for about 30 minutes, we get a better idea of their skills and experience and what they're looking to develop. And sometimes I reach out after and I'm like, hey, this might be a better opportunity for you. Just overall looking at what they're looking to develop on, I can then advise them on which role might be better suited. And even some of these students apply for multiple roles themselves. So I think everyone's just looking for experience at the end of the day. And while they may think a certain path is for them, they might discover something else is better suited, right?
Okay, all wonderful information. Lastly, Aneesah, if students can take away just 3 top highlights about the student recruitment process, the interview process, what type of advice would you give them?
Yeah, so 3 top highlights. Number 1, I would say be proactive. So that could be reaching out to people before the actual interview process, just to get a better understanding of what Fidelity is, what our student program is. And a great way to do this is actually through our campus ambassador program. We have ambassadors at pretty much every university or college, which are students that have worked here previously, and then they're now kind of connecting and continuing that relationship with Fidelity while they're on campus. So they are a great resource to connect with, to learn more about our opportunities, and if you could see yourself working at Fidelity as a future career. The second advice I would say is just be open. Even if it's not necessarily the role that you've always imagined, it's a starting point, right? And at Fidelity, we always encourage students to come back and try out different roles and different opportunities. So even if you start somewhere, let's say in client services, you can work your way up to finance. It's very possible, and we've seen it happen many times. So just be open to different opportunities. And lastly, I would say be curious as well. Because again, if you keep yourself just focused on one area, you might be limiting yourself from certain opportunities or even areas that could be the right role for you. So I would say explore things that you think may be a great learning experience. Because at the end of the day, for all of our students, the one thing I've heard them take away is they're looking to learn. And whether it be, finance or client services, whatever the role is, every role offers some sort of teaching from that opportunity.
That's amazing. So be curious, be open-minded, and ask a lot of questions, because it's just the beginning of a long career ahead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Aneesah, thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing your insights with our students. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Pleasure being here.
And thank you for watching Fidelity Next. We hope you're feeling inspired about pursuing your career path and hopefully making Fidelity a part of that journey. For more information on open student roles, just visit careers.fidelity.ca. And if you'd like to rewatch any of our Fidelity Next shows, you can find all our episodes on Fidelity Canada's YouTube page under the Live Videos tab. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to Fidelity Next. We'll see you next time.